You are not struggling to show up because you're not confident. You're struggling because your mind has been trained to find the problem. And lately, the problem it keeps finding is you. And I want you to sit with that for a second because a lot of successful women, especially Black and Brown women, are hiding, discounting their value, and calling it a confidence issue. And that requires a different skill set to shift, right? Because if we can really catch that, we can learn to switch that automatic response off. Is it okay if I break that down for you? I feel like I want to break it down, right? So you got to where you are because you learned how to be responsible, maybe even over responsible. Like you are successful because of the version of you that's appearing to us now. That version that's been through some things, worked through some things, understood that you had to be the one to show up. You had to be the dependable one. You had to be the fixer. Like you learn how to notice what other people miss, to solve problems and get things done. You learn to anticipate needs, to read the room, catch things before they became a bigger fire. Like, can y'all relate to that? Put a yes for me in the comments if that's the case. I think it's always good for us to see that like we're not alone even in this like digital virtual space, right? I know this idea is probably something some of you are familiar with, especially like my eldest daughters. You probably relate to the feeling of being overly responsible, to being the one who always has to pick up the pieces, or maybe my first generation friends or my type A personalities. Right? There's this way of seeing the world that we get conditioned to fix things, right? To maybe even people please. However, you've come to define it, it probably fits into here in some way. And all of this probably came about from childhood. Honestly, a lot of these patterns are being started really early, and we just don't see how it continues to manifest in our life now, right? So it may have come from this need to keep the peace, or maybe it came from thinking like, I can't have a problem, I can't mess up. I can't be the reason that, mom gets upset with me or dad gets upset with me. So part of this was really about maintaining safety for you, about keeping homeostasis for yourself. Part of it was that. Part of it was survival. Or maybe it even came from being the one that everyone sort of expected to figure things out, right? Like they knew you would be all right. They know that you got it. Or even from being one of the only in a room, the only Black woman, the only woman of color, and then knowing what that comes with, right? It comes with this pressure to be excellent, to be prepared and polished and 10 steps ahead of the game. So all of that really reinforces for your brain that we need to scan for what's missing. We need to scan for the problem. We need to be ready. And listen, that's a superpower, right? It does help you. It helps you to serve your clients better. It helps you to support your team. It helps you to run your families. It helps you to do well in your career because you can respond and catch problems. But what I am seeing is that this, I'm going to call it a skill. Your superpower is an ability, but it doesn't automatically turn off when it's time for visibility, when it's time to be seen, or when you want to do something for you, to go after your goal that might feel a little bit more risky, for example, or to say yes to an opportunity, or to speak at work, to show up at an event, like network, be out there, to really tell people what you do, right? To post a message online, to take up space in ways that feel risky. I think this is where it can work against you a little bit, right? So instead of looking at your experience or your wisdom and your receipts and all the evidence that you actually can do the thing, your mind locks onto what it's missing or what is missing. It says, oh no, you have a problem. Oh no, you're not ready. Or maybe I'm not enough. Maybe you're not as experienced. Maybe you need a logo, a website. I'm too old. I don't understand this. Maybe someone else is better for the job. All that noise, right? That noise is in response to the problem that we identified. And I'm curious what that noise sounds like for you. Like, what does your mind say to you when you're about to be seen? What's the noise that it creates? Put it in the comments. Hang that dirty laundry on the line. All right. Because again, I think it's important for us to see that we're not alone. And I hear a lot of these things like all the time. And sometimes I have to kind of check it for myself too, because your own thoughts will make you think that you don't have value. But it's really that your mind is trained to look at the deficits, to find the problem. It's looking for the thing that might prevent a problem. And sometimes the problem can be that you want to do something that's outside of the norm, the plan, and the expectation. But what if that's not a problem, right? What if it's okay to step out of your comfort zone and do something different? What if your goals is not a threat? What if things actually go well or it isn't as bad as it seems? Like, could you imagine? The interesting thing that I find with this is when you start to notice that you have a problem of looking for the deficit in one area, you'll start to see that the pattern shows up everywhere. And I want you to look for it because it usually does not just show up in business or your career. It shows up in your life. So for example, like you can walk into your house at the end of the day and immediately see like what your partner did not do. You can look at your child and immediately notice what needs correcting. And we may call those things out because we're trying to solve the problem and make things better, but sometimes we miss the moment. We miss that our partner may have just needed a hello, a hug. We miss that our child may have wanted to show us something they created or to tell us about their day. But because we came in hot, honey, trying to fix or avoid a bigger issue, connection. We jumped in too fast. We responded too quickly. We focused on the deficit and we lost a moment. We lost a connection. When your system is always scanning for what is wrong, it becomes very hard to settle into safety and see what is right, to see what is going well. It becomes hard to receive in that space, to celebrate moments, to see strengths, even if it's your own. I think we actually miss the mark with ourselves the most because we tend to be the most critical with ourselves. Like, just think about you. I really want you to hold you as I'm having this conversation. Like, what do you do to yourself? How do you show up for you? Are you mean to yourself? Do you give yourself as much grace and compassion as you would offer to somebody else? How do you come into the room for your inner self? If you constantly call yourself out, think about what happens to you. You probably shut down too. The same way other people shut down when they feel criticized, your nervous system does the same thing when you become critical to yourself. This is why every time you try to show up, your mind finds the problems and it turns up the attacks. So, of course, you freeze. Of course, it feels like I don't want to get out of bed and like all of a sudden I don't have any motivation. Of course, you avoid opportunities or you stay in your head and like you're always preparing. Of course, time will pass and now you feel like you're behind. This is really not a confidence problem. Like, I have not heard anything about confidence in this so far, and I hope you see that. I don't hear a lack of motivation here. I think you actually really do want to get it, and you can, and you have, but it's a faulty way of thinking that is causing you to short circuit. It's making you believe that you're not confident, you're not ready, but it's only because your mind keeps looking for what is wrong. It's scanning for the deficits. It's looking for what's wrong with you. And we need to shift that. And I'm going to tell you how. I think this shift breaks the bank. Okay, this is something I think I need you to do like every day on the regular. Okay, so when you catch your mind scanning for what's wrong with you or what's wrong with what you want to do, and it's giving you all the worst case scenarios, I want you to train it to scan for the proof. And this is going to take time and practice looking for proof because you have evidence, you have receipts, but you're not always paying attention to them. That means you're missing it. You're missing the moments in between. The process you have had to endure in life to get to where you are, to get to like the dope person that you are now, that brilliant, excellent, to do well achieved person, it is laced with receipts. The times you help people, the times you figured things out. Like, girl, how'd you figure it out for yourself to get to where you are now? The things people have thanked you for, the rooms you've already been in, the clients you've supported, your lived experience in training. Girl, it's there, but you have to start logging it somewhere so you can actually review it and see it every day. And this is why I love like a wins list or a receipts list. And not just big wins, I mean the small receipts too. It adds up. If I spend $5 at the dollar store and I spend $25 on something else, like it's still currency, it still has value. So, if somebody DM'd you and said, wow, this helped me, if someone pulled you aside and said, I needed that, if somebody remembered something you said months ago, that counts. Put it on the list. I was at a like Black Girls Run meetup, and this woman, she was in like the back of the room, and she came up to me and she was like, I see your posts all the time on Facebook, and I think they're so good. They're so encouraging. Thank you. Girl, just when I was thinking, I'm tired of talking on Facebook because ain't nobody listening. That felt good. And now, even as I'm saying it, my mind is like, girl, you need to go write that down because that is a receipt. So when your mind says, who do you think you are? It's like, oh, well, let me tell you. When your mind starts pointing out all the reasons you're not ready, not qualified, not prepared enough, you need to be able to say, hold on, let me go check the evidence. Let me play back the tape of my life, of my experiences, of my value. Let me break the bank and bring out my receipts. Your mind is just scanning for problems instead of scanning for proof. And that proof is the evidence you need to show up with confidence. Okay. Now, I also think community is important here, especially for Black and brown bodies, for marginalized folk. Like, community has always been important when we talk about seeing our value and being able to stand in confidence, okay, and disrupting this thing that tells us that we can't. Okay, community is where information gets shared, it's where support happens, it's where somebody can call you out on the nonsense, or you can hear what you need, or you can ask questions and maybe get answers. Somebody probably has it for you, but we've become so afraid to even ask for what we need. There has been this slow breaking apart of community because they don't want us to find our collective power. And for me, it is at the heart of a lot of the work that I do, and I'm just all about it. I think you need spaces to connect, to brainstorm together, to share what's working and what's not, and to really challenge each other also with love, right? If you are growing a business and working on your goals, yes, you need strategy. But you also need the emotional tools with that plan. You need encouragement to say, girl, post it. You need to hear that encouragement, right? Sometimes we need other people to remind us that we got it. Sometimes we need to borrow the beliefs of other people, and that is the power of community. And it's the kind of thing we got going on inside our community right now. Like, girl, are you there yet? And if you are, like, hey, thanks for watching. I appreciate you. Now go share and tell this to somebody. So I need you to listen to this here so you can get it all together. What I personally love about our space is that we are not just talking about getting ourselves out there and being visible, about marketing. It's really like this intersection. It's the marketing and mindset intersection, the intersection of your fears and feelings. There's just something that happens when you're asked to show up and talk about what you do and share your gifts. Some people got it, like, go do that, go do you. But for most of us, that's not the case. For most of us, something is activated, right? The deficits, like we talked about today. That automatic thing comes on and shines a light there, and it makes it easy for you to find creative ways not to have the impact that you want. even though you already know you got what it takes. You know it, but the mind can't remember it, can't hold on to it well, right? But girl, you got it. You know more than what most people know. You just need the tools and the space to practice. We need practice so we can stop shrinking the version of us that already exists. So let me give you the practice for the week. This could be your homework. I want you to start with the skill I just taught you today. Notice when your mind starts scanning for what is wrong with you and just ask yourself, like, what's my mind focused on right now? Is it focused on the deficit or is it focused on the evidence? Then break out your receipts. Okay, that could be 3 pieces of proof that you are not starting from zero. Could be 3 moments, 3 wins, 3 reminders. I think that's a great place to start. It could be 3 reasons why your voice is valid here or whatever space that you're about to enter. Write that down and then keep building that list. So eventually you may have like a list of 10 and you can pick 3 before you go pitch the thing. Write it down. Because when your mind starts acting up, you need something to come back to. All right. I hope that sounds good. All right. I'm just doing my homework. Okay. My responsibility to my community was to come and tell y'all what I do and to give y'all some things to hold on to. So I hope this was good. Let me know in the comments. I want to see if I can get that going more too, like hearing from you guys, maybe responding. So tell me how this is landing in the comments. Tell me what you need. Tell me how you feel. And if you need a space with women just like you to keep you in check, help you practice, and remind you that you are not the problem, you should already be in our community because your people cannot receive from you that best version of you if you keep hiding. Right? And on this challenge, we are practicing being visible without making ourselves a problem. Like the task today was tell them what you do. Real simple, right? But something simple like that, again, it can activate things. But I just gave you the tools so you know what to do with that. So let me tell you who I am. My name is Amanda Fludd, and I help high achieving women build the emotional capacity required to fully show up in leadership, visibility, business, and life. And I know that that requires skills. I know that that requires tools. I know that that requires community. And that is what I do. I hope what I lent to you today was helpful, and I'll see you in the community.